The session format should be quite informal. In a minute, I will ask our 5 city leaders to make some introductory remarks. I will ask them some questions. You can ask them some questions. They may decide to ask each other questions, and that would be great as well. And we will proceed in this way, focusing on the issue of city vision. So if I may, I'd like to first of all introduce our panel, starting immediately on my left here, the Deputy Mayor of Zaragoza, Jerónimo Blasco. Please welcome the Deputy Mayor. Next to him we have the Deputy Mayor of The Hague, Marjolein de Jong. Please welcome her. Next to her we have the Mayor of Leipzig, Burkhard Jung. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. Next to him, the governing mayor of Oslo, who is Stian Berger Rosland. And next to him, the leader of Bristol City Council, Barbara Janke. And if I may, Barbara, I'm going to begin with you, and I'm simply going to ask you to tell us all, if you will, something about, what are the key elements of the vision of the city of Bristol? How did you develop your vision? And what are some of the key directions for the city of Bristol in the future?
Bristol is a city that has a very strong heritage of advanced technology, from Brunel through to aviation and Airbus, right through to the digital revolution, creative and media, Aardman Animations, the creators of Wallace and Gromit. And we have a very strong interest in technology. We're a science city, and we have the highest rate of graduates remaining in our city of any other English city.
Thank you very much. Will you say a little bit about how you've developed this picture? Did you bring together stakeholders to do it? How has the vision for the city been created?
Well, we have a very energetic population, strong entrepreneurs, strong activists. They lead our city, and we benefit very much from that energy.
Great, thank you very much. So it's relatively informal, very bottom-up, and very much driven by talented, progressive, open-minded, active citizens in one way or another. Yeah, thank you very much. Let's go immediately, if we may, to the Mayor of Oslo. Mr. Mayor, how is the vision of your city today, and how has that been created?
Well, there are, of course, several elements that define and influence the vision of Oslo. First of all, the geography. We are located in somewhat the periphery of Europe, and we are not a huge metropolitan city, but we are a great little city.
Very much a little bit like Bristol, the focus is on talent and knowledge and creating the environment where people really want to be. And maybe later we'll ask you something about which are the ingredients that you think the talented people are really sensitive to? Is it the open, tolerant mindset, or is it somehow the amenities and the other aspects of the quality of life? But maybe we can ask you that later, Mr. Mayor. We go immediately now, if we may, to the Mayor of Leipzig for some observations about your city, a city that has been in a process of transformation very successfully. So, Mr. Mayor, welcome. What's the vision for your city?
So if I give it together, I would say we want to be an attractive place to come, growing, cultural, lively, sustainable, international, educated, and indeed, let's have a view to the social cohesion.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. What you have reminded all of us about when you talk about the 1,000-year history is, of course, that cities have a kind of DNA, and it sounds like you have been excavating the DNA of Leipzig. Was this a very deliberate thing?
Yes, I think the inner thing of a city is so important, because you need the people. The secret of a strong development in future is the identity of the people. And if people believe in their city, if they trust in the development, if they are proud of the city, you have all chances to develop it and to give a new view and a new vision.
Right, thank you very much. I know later in the conversation we should come back to your observation about the shrinking population and what you do to become a city that's attractive to people to move to. Because I guess for many cities in the room, this is an important challenge. But let's move on. We already heard this morning a little bit from the mayor of The Hague about the identity. This is the city of truth and justice and international law and fairness. But how has the vision for The Hague been developed, and where is it going next?
Well, I heard my neighbor talk about Leipzig and the historical DNA, sort of less. We've got that same DNA in The Hague. The birth of Dutch democracy was in The Hague hundreds of years ago. Parliament is still in The Hague. Although Amsterdam is the capital, we've got it all. So that's how we all started in the Netherlands. We started in The Hague.
Later on, I would like to ask you one very particular question, which is common perhaps to many cities that have a strong international presence, which is, how do you bring together, as it were, the local dimension of The Hague and the global and international dimension of The Hague? How do you make sure you don't just get separate districts where the diplomats live and other districts where local people live? Maybe we can come back to this question in a few minutes, if we may. Now, Deputy Mayor, we heard, of course, this morning from the Mayor some of the wonderful things about Zaragoza. We saw the film, and we know now, if we didn't know before, that Zaragoza, of course, is equidistant between Madrid and Barcelona, between Valencia and Bilbao, perfectly positioned. But how did you come to decide that you were going to promote this particular vision of Zaragoza? What was the story behind this way of visioning and presenting your city?
But really in Zaragoza, I must speak about 98, when we took the decision to have a strategic city plan. Well, I'm not sure it was the best one, but it was the first one, okay? And we have all the stakeholders. We look, of course, to Europe. We look to towns like Barcelona, who start with the same kind of plan. But really the moment, and probably the mayor speak about, when we could have all the people together, all the institutions, everybody pushing, all the national, the local, regional authorities, is when the expo gets place. That for us was a good moment, because we get a lot of pressure from everybody, a lot of love even. I mean, the people wanted to love his town, they want to be proud about his town, and it works very well. And probably it was a second factor who comes more or less at the same time, some few years ago, but it changed a lot the vision of our town. It was the high-speed train. When it arrived to Zaragoza, the high-speed train, and suddenly everybody understood that we were just in 1 hour in Madrid, just 1 hour in Barcelona, at the distance changed, because before it was 300 kilometers, but it's very different to do it by car than by train. No? Both elements, they move together.